Kung Fu Panda may look like a simple story about a panda becoming a kung fu master, but the franchise is filled with mysteries that have never been completely explained. From Master Oogway's unknown past to the true meaning of the Dragon Scroll, there are questions that fans have been debating for years. Today, we're going through 15 of the biggest unanswered questions in Kung Fu Panda, and some of these mysteries might completely change how you see the franchise. What happened to Master Oogway before he became a master? We know Oogway as the legendary tortoise who founded the Jade Palace and eventually became one of the greatest kung fu masters ever. But his early life is still largely unknown. How did he discover kung fu? Where did he train? And what experiences turned him into the wise master we eventually meet? The franchise has given us pieces of Oogway's history, but his complete origin story remains a mystery. 2. Who were Po's biological parents? Po eventually learns that his biological father is Li Shan, but there is still a lot we don't know about Po's family history. What was Po's mother like? What was life like for the pandas before Shen's attack? And perhaps most importantly, how did Po's parents know that he could survive? Po's childhood remains one of the most important mysteries in the franchise. 3. Why did Oogway choose Po as the Dragon Warrior? This is one of the biggest questions in the entire franchise. Po had no formal kung fu training when Oogway chose him. He wasn't fast, he wasn't disciplined, and he wasn't even trying to become the Dragon Warrior. So why Po? Was Oogway simply following destiny? Or did he see something special in Po that nobody else could see? 4. How did Oogway discover the power of Qi? Qi becomes incredibly important later in the franchise. We learn that Oogway eventually mastered Qi and used it to help others. But how did he discover it? Was Qi always known throughout the world? Or was Oogway one of the first kung fu masters to truly understand its power? The franchise hasn't given us the complete answer. 5. Scroll. Who created the Dragon Warrior prophecy? The Dragon Warrior is treated as an ancient legend, but who started the prophecy? Was it created by an ancient master? Was it connected to Oogway? Or does the Dragon Warrior title simply exist because someone eventually became worthy of it? The origin of the prophecy could reveal a huge part of Kung Fu Panda's history. 6. Why was Kai so obsessed with collecting Qi? Kai spent years collecting the Qi of Kung Fu masters, but what was his ultimate goal? Was he simply trying to become stronger? Did he want revenge against Oogway? Or did he believe that possessing all this Qi would allow him to become something greater? His obsession with Qi is one of the strangest parts of his story. 7. What happened to the other masters Kai defeated? Kai defeated countless kung fu masters and stole their Qi, but what happened to them afterward? Were they trapped permanently? Could they return? And what happened to their spirits after Kai was defeated? The movies don't completely explain the consequences of Kai's attacks. 8. How did Master Shifu become Oogway's student when we meet him? But his childhood and early training are mostly unexplored. How did he meet Oogway? Why did Oogway decide to train him? And what made Shifu become so devoted to becoming the greatest master possible? There's an entire story about young Shifu that we haven't seen. 9. Why did Tai Lung believe he was destined to be Dragon Warrior? Tai Lung wasn't randomly chosen to become a kung fu master. Shifu raised him and trained him intensely. Tai Lung eventually became convinced that he was destined to become the Dragon Warrior. But how much of that belief came from Shifu himself? And did Shifu accidentally create Tai Lung's obsession? This mystery is especially interesting because it connects directly to Shifu's biggest mistake. 10. What exactly is the Dragon Scroll? The Dragon Scroll is arguably the most famous mystery in the first movie. Po expects it to contain some incredible secret technique, but when he opens it, there's nothing obvious. The lesson is that there is no secret ingredient. Greatness comes from within. But that still leaves a question. Why was the Dragon Scroll created in the first place? And who originally wrote it? 11. How does the spirit realm actually work? The spirit realm appears to operate under completely different rules from the mortal world. Masters can enter it, they can apparently continue existing there, and powerful beings like Oogway and Kai can interact with the living world. But what exactly determines who can enter? Can anyone return? Can someone die in the spirit realm? The franchise has shown us the realm, but hasn't completely explained its rules. 12. Are there other warriors as powerful as Oogway? Oogway is considered one of the greatest masters ever. But was he truly the strongest? We simply don't know enough about the ancient history of Kung Fu. 13. Where did Kung Fu originally come from? Kung Fu is already an established tradition when the story begins. But who invented it? Was there an original Kung Fu master? Did different animals develop their own fighting styles independently? Or did all Kung Fu ultimately come from one ancient source? This could be one of the biggest unexplored parts of the franchise's lore. 14. What happened to the pandas after the attack? Po eventually discovers the hidden panda village. But what happened during the years between Shen's attack and the events of the movies? How did the pandas rebuild their community? How did they survive? And how did Li Shan eventually find his way back to the panda population? There's a huge missing chapter in the history of Po's people. 15. Could there be another dragon warrior after Po? Po is the current dragon warrior, but is the title permanent? Could another warrior eventually replace him? And if Po becomes a master who trains the next generation, could someone else eventually be chosen? If the Dragon Warrior is a title rather than a permanent identity, then Po might not be the last Dragon Warrior. And those are 15 of the biggest unanswered questions in Kung Fu Panda. Some of these mysteries might eventually be answered in future movies or shows, while others may remain mysteries forever. But which question do you think deserves an answer the most? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this Kung Fu Panda lore video, make sure to subscribe for more. And when we hit 1,000 subscribers, I'm doing a face reveal. So if you want to finally see who's behind the channel, hit that subscribe button and help us reach 1K. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.